So, I know I said I wasn't going to make any videos about dungeons until something new comes out, and, well, I'm not. This isn't the guide or the 24,000 video about why you should be doing dungeons or anything like that. This is a video talking about the failure of the catacombs and why they weren't the huge success they were hyped and expected to be. This is all entirely my opinion, of course. None of this is officially said by admins or anything, but it's a good discussion to have. Oh, why'd you look at that? Nearly at 80k subs. Damn. You know what that means, right? Make sure to join under 80k gang right now by subscribing before it's too late. Okay, back to the video. Subscribe. So what do I think the biggest issue with dungeons is? It was optional. Why spend over 9 months developing content that you ultimately call optional, and then get confused when people abuse the progress system and don't play it properly? Why do I think they did this? Without sounding overly dramatic, Hypixel players don't tend to have a lot of friends. The biggest complaints you'll see anyone talk about with dungeons is how they don't have people to play with, and even if you do have a lot of friends, it can be difficult to scrape together 5 people all of the same ability level who are all online and available at the exact same time of the day. It's easy if you're in a guild of dungeon players, but if you aren't, then falling behind at any point is essentially a death sentence for progress because nobody is going to run with you. The Party Finder tried to rectify this by giving people a way to play with anyone available, but ultimately, this neglects the fact that a majority of Skyblock players are actually just blindfold toddlers pressing random buttons on their keyboard, or at least act like it. It's a great concept that is honestly ruined more so by the players than it was by design. But that doesn't mean Skyblock's design was perfect, because the dungeon's gear progression sucks. I don't think it was supposed to be as bad as it was, and all 10 floors were probably originally planned to go ahead as normal, but by staggering floor releases almost months apart, you create super high level sweats with way too much time to play, and your average player who doesn't. When floor 4 dropped, there were already a few people near and at the Catacombs 20 level, which was honestly insane. Now, do you make the floor's items and enemies super powerful to appease the sweats who are the vocal minority? Or do you keep them at the level they were intended at, which makes all the insane grinders feel like they wasted all their time? Ultimately, the admins decided to go with the sweats, as evident by the bone meringue just being stupid good. Probably because the only people who can give direct communication with the admins are the same people who have spent way too much time playing this game. To compensate for this, boss drops were given floor completion requirements instead of actual floor requirements, which meant all of your hours spent grinding the game served no purpose aside from a week or so of early grinding. This wasn't the case with Necron sets. They used to have a Catacombs level requirement of 32 to 35 depending on the piece, which is still almost 150 Necron runs, which just isn't achievable for your average player who only has an hour or two to play after school. And that also resulted in stupid stuff like the Livid Dagger beating out the Gilded Midas Sword as a floor 5 drop. Remember Jaya talking about how items weren't supposed to do that until floors 9 and 10? This also highlights the Necron swords, specifically the Hyperion and the Valkyrie. Based on what Jayaverman has said before, and the stats on the sword, you can tell it was intended for the real floor 10 Necron fight, but its stats have not changed from its original plan as a floor 10 drop, and yet, it doesn't feel like it, because the dungeon's balancing was ruined back when they gave Bone Meringues better stats than the second most expensive sword in the game at the time. The last issue is that it's just really buggy. The alpha network was a great way to find bugs, yes, but instead of reporting these bugs, people just kept them for themselves and used them to their own advantage when the update came out. There's also inventory wipe bugs because of course there is. That chunks that never existed until Necron did, for some reason, secrets that you can't get because the bats died, and just so many abusable bugs with items. It's just way too broken and feels almost untested and unpolished, and I can't think of many good solutions without a complete redesign. Oh hey wait, that's a good video idea actually. If they were going to make a dungeon so disconnected from the real game, why didn't they literally just make it a completely different game on the Hypixel network? Anyway, let's just hope that the Forge update comes really soon, because we need content. And also because I would really use a fresh new update right now to give me a reason to log back onto Skyblock and play it. Okay, that's basically it. Au revoir.